Hello, and welcome to carbonwhy, the channel that's catered to those who are avid lifelong learners. My channel explores the how, what, where, why the world works the way it does. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so that you can get notified of my next video. In this week's episode, we found out what we know so far about the Apple Car. For years, automakers have been trying to integrate our phones with our cars, but now it seems like they're trying to integrate new cars with our phones. The rumors of an Apple Car started around 2014, but it seems like those rumors might finally be coming true. Tim Cook has confirmed that Apple is working on a driverless car, and if Apple does end up producing that car, well, Elon Musk himself said it was harder than launching a rocket, so the road to the Apple Car might be a bumpy one. Apple is one of the most valuable companies in the world, and it can easily become more valuable with cars. The global auto industry is worth about $10 trillion compared to the not as impressive $750 billion smartphone market. So what do we know about the Apple Car? Honestly, not much, but here's what we do know. In December 2020, Reuters reported that Apple was looking to start production of its car by 2024. But the idea of an Apple Car had developed long before that. Steve Jobs reportedly considered the idea all the way back in 2008, but the auto industry looked too grim. At the time, Ford, General Motors and Chrysler, the three biggest names in the auto industry in the United States, were asking the government for up to $18 billion in federal aid. Besides, Apple had just launched the iPhone in 2007 and was already on its way to redefining the smartphone industry and the Apple brand. But in 2015, it was discovered that Apple reportedly had hundreds of workers assigned to a secret project called Project Titan. So, at the time, there were some major things going on, like Google working on self-driving cars, and Tesla, a small startup in Silicon Valley, was gaining more attention for its cars. In the years since, Apple has made some interesting investments and partnerships that definitely raised some eyebrows, like giving $1 billion to Uber's Chinese competitors Didi Chuxin in 2016. This helped to strengthen Apple's ties with the mobility industry and self-driving technology. Apple also commissioned talent from BlackBerry, NASA, and others for Project Titan. Even former Tesla employees were hired to work on Project Titan, which included former Tesla autopilot, powertrain, mechanical design, firmware engineers, and global supply chain managers. Elon Musk called it the Tesla graveyard back in 2015 because anyone who didn't make it at Tesla would go to Apple. When Apple first got into the car-making business, a lot of other automakers thought it was the end for them. But instead, it's just been years of speculation, a roller coaster of back and forth from is Apple making a car to no, Apple is not making a car and back again. A few years ago, when Project Titan was just confirmed, it was exciting, everyone was talking about it. But then it kind of just died down. No surprise there, we were used to the constant back and forth with Apple regarding a car by then. And now, all of a sudden, it's back on and everyone is talking about it again. Apple stock got a bump when Reuters reported that Apple could launch its car as early as 2024. The stock jumped again when there was talk of Hyundai Kia partnering with Apple to produce the car in Georgia. But we still don't have much information about the car and far less about what it's gonna look like. But reports so far speculate that the Apple Car will be an electric vehicle with better battery technology, autonomous driving tech, and of course, that signature Apple look. And honestly, a functional autonomous car is already a pretty big wow factor, especially coming from a company that's not in the automotive industry. Any new company getting into automaking will definitely face some challenges. Back in 2015, when the Apple Car idea was still a novelty, everyone thought it was going to happen immediately. But what a lot of people realized instead is that making cars is a much slower and harder process than they thought. Tesla is the perfect example of how a newcomer can reimagine the slow-moving and exclusive auto industry. It took Tesla 17 years to finally make a sustained profit and reach where it is now. We can only speculate that there's going to be lots of changes in the way we retail cars in this country when the Apple Car gets on the market. Buying an Apple Car might be exactly like going to the Apple Store and buying an iPhone or an iPad. Or it might be completely different. Not a lot is known yet about the Apple Car. We do know that Apple will face the staggeringly expensive task of building an automobile manufacturing operation if it comes to it. Tesla has spent billions on its battery and car factories and its plans to build more, so Apple might be looking at similar expenditure when the Apple Car is ready for production. But this is Apple we're talking about. It's got the brand recognition, it's got the capital, and it's got the safety net. Perhaps more than any other company or sector in the world. In Q1 of the fiscal year 2021, iPhone and iPad sales pushed Apple revenue to well over $100 billion for the first time ever. So if the Apple Car doesn't work out, the company has quite literally billions to fall back onto and an already successful set of tech products. One of the disadvantages that Apple will face in its quest to make the car is that it doesn't have generations of experience designing and building and selling cars. Elon Musk said that Apple will find it harder to build a car than it was to make a smartphone or watch. Musk said you can't just go to a supplier like Foxconn and say, "Hey, build me a car." Ironically, Foxconn, which is Apple's main iPhone and iPad assembler, is very much involved in the automotive industry, partnering with Chinese car manufacturer Geely. We know that there's going to be a lot of mergers and joint partnerships in Apple's future as it relates to the Apple Car. Because it's a lot more than just making a car that runs, Apple is going to need data to add value to it. We also know that self-driving capabilities are going to be a big part of the Apple Car as well, and this technology is famously difficult to develop. And many don't think that Apple is at the point where they have that type of technology just yet. Waymo, owned by Alphabet, has already logged millions of miles worth of driving on public roads to fine-tune its driverless cars. In 2020, Waymo logged 629,000 miles in California, whereas Apple counted barely 90,000. Waymo is well on its way to launching its autonomous driving tech and having penned deals with Jaguar. We also know that the Apple Car will likely be very pricey, especially with all the tech that will likely be going into it. Apple computers are consistently higher than other PC brands, and the iPhone X reimagined the smartphone market into an age where phones costing over $1,000. Apple is known for its pricey products, so why will the Apple Car be any different? The average cost for a new vehicle in the US is around $40,000. People aren't spending small amounts, but when you factor in the technology that goes into electrification and autonomous capabilities, it's going to make the Apple Car expensive. But Apple has been a trendsetter for decades, starting with graphical interfaces on computers, to portable music players, to smartphones and smartwatches and earbuds. So its introduction to the automotive industry can have a profound impact on both the auto and tech industry. There are lots of companies trying to make electric cars and autonomous cars, but what's so interesting about Apple doing it is the unparalleled financial resources the company has for research and development. In Q1 of 2021, Apple brought in $195 billion. To put that into perspective, Apple could buy Ford for $40 billion and come out with a partnership between the two brands, and it would be a win-win for everybody. But Apple probably won't want to build off of an existing design. Apple is all about innovating and design from scratch. The increasing amount of Silicon Valley startups that are becoming involved in the car industry has a lot of car companies thinking of whether they need to be aggressive at developing a new type of car. In terms of cell phones, there really isn't much else that can have the same wow factor that the iPhone first had when it was launched and in the years since. Whereas in transportation, there is so much opportunity for Apple to really hit us with that wow factor car. When Apple first launched the iPhone, it was so unique that it completely changed the smartphone industry for more than a decade. If Apple can do that with its Apple Car, then it will definitely succeed. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and watch these videos that might pique your interest. Thank you for your support.